Peace, my name is Haven Bullis, and today I'm here to deal with the hypocrisy and contradictions of Phil the Advised Show concerning voting, because I just seen this picture and it really pissed me off, and I had to do this video and I had to do it now. You see that? It's 19 women. He congratulating these sisters because they got elected. But the hypocrisy and the contradiction comes in. He was telling people not to vote, but now you're congratulating people because they got elected when you told them not to vote. And then he'll try to wiggle out of it like the rest of these clowns do, what they say, oh, I was talking about the federal level. I wasn't talking about the local level, which is BS. First of all, I started the whole telling people how important local level elections were. I started that. It didn't come. That's when I'm the one who introduced that to the community. Now, nobody else. Nobody was saying that before me. And I challenge you to find somebody who was talking that talk, from the Advised Show to Tariq to any of them, because they was all downplaying, playing and hating on elections for years. I'm the one who brought that in. And that's my talking point, and they're misusing it, because I told people about the importance of dealing with local elections as far as the everyday racism that affects you, from police brutality, the school system, and everything else, the housing situation. But I never said that the local elections were the most important elections or the only elections that count. For one, this dude told people not to vote, and I always bring this up when I prove that people who talk this local election stuff don't know what they're talking about, and they basically just trying to use it as a halfway jump off point to try to get around the, oh, I was saying not to vote, but I was only talking about the federal election stuff. This is how I tell them. Because during the 2016 election, they said, well, I meant don't vote for president, but I'm all for local elections. So I'm saying, cool. So why did you tell people not to go out and vote in 2016? They said, well, that was a federal election for the president. I'm like, see, you don't know what you're talking about, because it wasn't just the president on the ballot. You had local and state elections happening also that night. And again, this night, most of the elections in the midterm right now was state and local. He was telling people not to vote. He didn't say, all right, this is the time we need to be out here voting, because this is the one when it's mainly local and state. And then we're voting for Congress, which is also affects us, and they represent the state and the local governments. They represent the congressional districts and the states as whole, because you have the Senate and the House. He didn't say that. He said don't vote, period. And then now, when these women get elected, he's trying to champion this as this some type of victory. When if people had listened to you, if I should say more people had listened to you, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who didn't vote in Texas listening to you. That's why Ted Cruz won. But that's another whole nother topic for a whole nother time. Well, if more people had listened to you, these 19 sisters would not have been elected. And I can also expose more of your contradictions and your hypocrisy, because you was telling people not to vote because, oh, we haven't vetted these candidates and we don't know who they are, and they're just the Democrats putting them in our face. How many of these sisters have you vetted? Because you're right in Texas with all of them. How many of them have you vetted? How many of them have you talked to? How many of them have you given money to? How many of them have you raised up from the grassroots? How many? None. But you're still promoting them as if their election is some type of victory. But according to y'all, we can't vote for nobody because they not our politicians. Even if they're black, we can't vote for them because we didn't raise them up from the grassroots. But again, you're celebrating their election. You can't have it both ways. You can't trash all elections and then try to double back and say, well, I'm okay with local elections while not, and telling people you're okay with local elections, and then turn around and be like, well, don't vote for certain people in local elections and state elections because we didn't vet them. And then you're promoting and celebrating people you didn't vet. Like, it's so confusing because y'all constantly contradict yourself, and y'all so full of hypocrisy. It's just so hard to keep track of it all. This is ridiculous. And people are shouting him out. This is the same dude who just earlier did a reaction video about a black lady being yelled at by one of the posters or whatever the case may be at a voting booth area, and he was still promoting this not voting stuff. And again, what I'm talking about with reaction videos with these guys, all they do is reaction videos. Black people are fighting for their rights. They're poo-pooing them, and then on top of that, when bad things happen because we didn't vote, they're just gonna do reaction videos about it and say, "Oh, look how bad things are." Well, anyway, I'm gonna end this video here. Like, share, subscribe, drop me a comment. Tell me what you think. Please share this video. Support the channel if you like what you heard here.